So. There we go. Okay, let's hold that one. Hi. Onegaishimasu. Okay, just starting with warming up a little bit the body on the vertical. Working the feet, balls of the feet. Working the hands and the arms as well. Just let them swing. Okay, coming to front and back. And keep exploring the feet as well, so really allow yourself to mobilize through the feet. Especially now exploring the heel as well, so as you come back, explore a little bit coming just up onto the heel. Again, just working with the arms too. You've got the kind of core movement. Start to explore movements with the arms. And then even on a front and back. Also do this kind of movement. Now let's explore the body a little bit. Like that. Good. And side to side. We're starting with the core movement. Especially now with this one, this whole area is trying really to mobilize this, like the bottom. If you imagine the base ribs, like the floating ribs. Try and really get that whole area into motion. And then just going into the feet, just exploring like really the side, the edges of the feet. Don't go against the knee, but just see if you can explore a little bit the edges of the feet. Also explore in this case a little bit of a wider base. A little bit with the feet wider. Gives you a bit more range of motion. And again, just letting the arms come into it. Not this motion. I've also got round in a circle. And you've got this kind of motion, where you kind of draw the whole body over. Or this one, drawing the whole body out. But just anything where the arm's going to pass on a lateral plane. Just explore different parts of the arm. So move with the elbows, move with the wrists, move with the fingers, with the thumbs, however you like. Just explore again the whole body. Good. And then just slowly come into a rotation. Again, just get the idea of the core, basically starting the movement. So you'll see this kind of movement. This. This. Imagine it, in this case, just let the feet leave the ground a little bit so that you can really focus on the core, the body. Especially the back foot. Just let it kind of be quite loose in the ground. So you're really focusing on like something here in the core. Coiling through. So, and then just start to bring your feeling down into the feet. You can keep the feet as they are kind of coming out, It's also really nice to kind of feel like you kind of spiral through the whole back leg. There's a kind of corkscrewing effect happening in the feet. And then you can also do the same, just let the body go down. And again, just try and feel that kind of corkscrewing into the ground through both feet. There's something kind of screwing into the ground. And it's not just a case of just spinning the body. Get something like coiling in the ground. And then again, just working the arms. Kind of obvious ones, just letting the arms coil around the body. But also these movements are really nice. These kind of figure of eight patterns. Anything that's kind of figure of eight with the arms is going to be done with a kind of spiraling rotation, unless I do like this. But I need to, if I can get a sense like the body's, the kind of central focus. That's it. Yeah, good. I'll just play with the arms a little bit. All these kind of movements that we do, like Ikkyo, Iriminage, Hokyunage, these are all based on these kind of spiraling lines. Yeah, that's it. Just play with it. Good. Nice. Great. With the dog, great. Okay, good. Last one is this inside outside. So again, just really focusing on the core. Again, really each one of these movements kind of moves down the spine. So you're really like working the tail of the spine right at the tip, and just feel you can kind of mobilize this whole area. And there, kind of opening and closing it. Play with the hips also, like the whole pelvis, and just feel again. It's more about mobility. And this one, it's like this feeling, especially this motion, being able to do this, and even this in this case, and then the feelings like you want to get like you can close the hips, so you can like close them, open them out, close them, open them out. Yeah. So, yeah. The main problem was we tend to mask the movements because I've got less mobility in the hip, or let's say I'm looking at mobility, but I try and do it with the arms. So I try and do it with everything else. So just get a sense that and the center of the movement's like here, and try and really feel that you can kind of mobilize it. And it's not easy in this case. So it's like, this is a really, one tends to be quite a stiff joint. Especially if we're sitting all day or driving all day or something like this. So just get a sense that you can just mobilize it from the center of the body. Use the breath also in this case, because the breath can help kind of open and expand it as well. So again, it's trying to recruit the whole body, but and then feel that you're kind of going to take that movement from the kind of tail of the spine, the tailbone, and then see if you can kind of pass it up and down the spine. And start, you know those, I don't know what you call them, in the fairground where you hit the big red buzzer with a big hammer and it goes, then you're going to do like this, but you start slowly, so it's like you hit it lightly and then it goes up the spine and then drop it down. And then you hit it harder and it goes up the spine and then down. And then see if you can get like right to the top of the head. But see if like work it up, so you go like, and then start to feel like you can really carry it all the way up the body, all the way up the tip of the head and back down. So let that whole movement pass through the vertebra, every single one of them, clack, 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 and then down, clack, 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 clack. That's it. Good. Yeah. That's it. Good. Okay, and now feel like that movement goes both ways. So as well as it going up through the spine, This can also pass through the ground and the legs as well. So this is where the knees and the feet need to really kind of match the movement as well. So if you think about this is what we do basically when we do a kemi work. So if you get like an ikkyo done to you, if I only receive it in the upper body, I will get drawn out. So I need to also match it in the lower body. So something's going to happen. What happens up happens down. And in this case, this same feeling of like this motion is also have the feeling like it's passing into the ground. So it's like that and then that. So this is kind of meeting between the two. Goes up and it goes down, and then it comes back. Goes up, it goes down, it goes back. Just kind of get a feel for this, which is quite difficult. But again, it's about essentially it's about the contact to the ground, how I'm connecting to the ground. And there's no right or wrong. I'm just trying to feel like something actually passes to the ground and back. And it's happening anywhere. I just need to be like sensitive to it, which is most of the work really. Becoming sensitive to some things like this. Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, great. And just see if you can like involve more of the body in it now. So like bringing the arms into it. And basically the more I exaggerate the movement, the higher chance I can kind of feel those movements. So I can do this very, very small and I don't feel anything. If I can start to exaggerate them, make them a little bit bigger, really drop down to the ground with the hands, really curl over to the back, I can really feel something like draining down into the ground. So just explore making the movement big. You basically increase your chance to feel it, basically. So, and also a really nice thing to just mobilize the whole body in movement. And just explore the arms as well. You can do different things with the arms. They don't always have to do the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, one that's quite nice is like this movement as well, as if you're like dragging something up. So this is also good for like mobilizing the hands as well. So it's like dragging something up and then dropping it down. Or imagine you've got like a big basketball, it's like picking it up, boom, boom. And this is where all these kind of swinging movements come from. Just have a sense of like, again, dragging something up, dropping it down. You've got this kind of dynamic tension happening in the body between you, the ground, and everything else above you. Yeah, that's it, sure, nice. Yeah. Very nice. Great. That's it. Great. Very nice. Yeah. Nice. So, great. Yeah. Good. Okay, the last one just to play with is like mixing them all up. Just pick a direction. You can stick with this one. And what I want you to feel is like, if this was like, I'm passing the movement from here down to the feet and up to the top of the head and the fingers. Imagine you're expanding it out now. So it's going above over the head, out, and then down into the ground. So really feel, especially the down direction, is like feeling like the whole body enters into the ground. So if you imagine like a tree with roots, like you can just see the tree in the picture. But if you imagine everything else underneath it, the roots spreading out here and the roots spreading down. Imagine that whole, imagine the weight of the body drains down through the ground. Yeah. And at the same time, you want to explore the same thing, like extending up and out. Sounds a bit like woo-woo, but just kind of get the feeling that there's something else, that the movement's going to pass up and out, up and down. And that's just your feeling, really. It's like, yeah, your body ends at your feet, your body ends at your fingers, but your feeling can extend much further, much further. And this is what we explore when we do weapon work, extending feeling into an object. Yeah, that's it. Just explore anything. So like freely move through the directions. The 5, you've got the vertical, the side to side, front and back, rotational, and then internal, external. Just mix them all in, let the body go. And if you especially feel like tension in one area of the body, like the shoulder or the knee or whatever it is, just see if you can work it with the movement. Yeah, so. And you're totally free in the sense, so it's like you can explore whatever kind of movement quality you like. Yeah, good. And this is where the Seitai practice is almost always done with music. So it's done with classical music, or it's done with something quite like light. But I always prefer to do it without music, because then you can really listen to the body. You're not really listening to anything external to you. Just listen to yourself, follow your own body. Go where it takes you, because it'll take you some strange places. Yeah. Good. Also, feel free to move the feet as well, so you can start to now just kind of move. Now go to a feeling like you're going to move around a little bit, and think about now like function. So Seitai can sometimes become like a dance, especially when you're doing it with music, become like a kind of the kind of dance. But get a sense now that you're going to move around, and just feel like you're kind of functionally doing something. So I usually imagine, if I imagine something like a ball, like passing a ball around, moving something around, then I'm looking at something a little bit more functional. So just think about rolling around, moving stuff. Now the hands need to be kind of actively full. They need to be kind of doing something. And the more I can align that doing something to the body, to the core of the body and the ground, that's when I start to get really kind of functional movements. So just explore it. Moving the feet, moving around. Going to rotation work. So, good. That's it. Okay, good. Nice. Yeah, good. And also, if you're feeling pretty flexible, also you can think about functionally like doing something. It's like where we work at techniques. You can also think about someone doing something to you. So if you think about like your Kemi work, you can also go into these kind of positions. So this will also take you into some kind of strange places where my structure's kind of compromised, but also put me in some really nice places in terms of mobilizing the body, especially the shoulders, the elbows, the knees. They'll put me in some pretty awkward places. And then it's like, how do I mobilize through that? I just want the structure to be mobile and free, so that's it. The best way to this is like structurally, the structure needs to be integral. It needs to have integrity. So yeah, which means everything should be like full. It should really feel full, and no part of the body's kind of empty. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, good. Great. And just think of one thing. There was an incredible video. I shared it in on Facebook on the group. It was a guy doing a Maasai guy doing dancing, and he was showing a student how to move his body, but he just looked like a snake, like a slippery snake. And if I was just imagining how to do Aikido to him, like trying to get an Ikkyo on this guy would be impossible because he was so slippy. Everything was slipping off him. So get the sense now that you're going to be a little bit kind of slippy through the movement. So again, I don't want to be too light, but again, it's about my connection to the ground and my center. But feel that everything's a bit kind of slippy, so that if there's a kind of external force to it, I can just absorb it around it. And imagine in this case, like someone pushing into you or pushing the arms, so you've got some kind of idea of like functionally. Again, it's about being functional, but I want to have the quality of being a little bit kind of slippy, like nothing would stick to you. Yeah, that's it. Just kind of explore it with movement. Yeah, that's it. Especially like the arm joints. And if you can imagine like what I'm looking for in like Ikkyo, all these kind of things, I'm looking for the body to become stiff a little bit. So I'm looking for the structure to become like rigid, and then I can trap you in the feet. So just look at something a bit. Yeah. Yeah. Good. That's good. Nice. Okay, good. Take a job. Do some Joe work today. Okay, keep that kind of sense of the joint mobile. We're going to kind of slightly bring the body back into the center. So just kind of here, this. It's a little bit more structural work. Again, I don't want to feel like I'm rigid, so I don't want to feel like the body's rigid, stuck, and I'm just rotating the wrist. So even though it's like just the wrist in this case, really feel the whole body's also kind of involved in it. And it's not, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to move. Your body can be totally static, but it's really involved in the movement too. It doesn't have to be kind of moving in it, but just feel that the structure's in place, and I'm just now really focused on mobilizing this part of the body, especially the forearm and the ring, the kind of grip as well. So it's really specific, but keep that sense of mobility. So you can use the other hand as a brace. You can use it just to feel parts of the body. You just want to feel what's going on, especially in the shoulder. Yeah. And just change when you feel like it. Do a few on each side. That's it. Good. Yeah, good. Nice. Just watch this. Don't try not to carry the Joe over. So I can do it like this, where I'm kind of doing that. That's okay, but I'm basically doing like something like that. See if you can really get a sense of this. So this is like really spiraling from the palm. So it's like this palm coiling. That movement's going to come. That movement's going to come from the forearm. So from the side, it's something like that. That. Now the moment I do that, I lose all that mobility in the joint. So you want something like that, and this is where it becomes like koku work. If I do that, I'm just passing the Joe around. So try and find like this is really like koku work. So something there. One image I like that's nice to use, if you imagine like two drums on either side of you, there's like a boom here and then a boom here. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. And at the same time as you're doing that, there's an impact in the feet. So there's boom, 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 boom. So again, it's like you can do the Joe work in two ways. You can do it in, especially this kind of work, functionally, or you can do it like aesthetically, where you start to kind of, it starts to become really aesthetic. It looks great, nice, but I'm a bit more interested in the functional side of it, like a bit more in the kind of impacting percussion kind of side of it. Both are really interesting, and it's nice to kind of challenge yourself with these twirling. For me, the functional side, it's a bit more. And just do the same thing, just start to move the body around. We'll do the same pattern to explore them. So it's just that and that. And also feel free just changing the hand as well, anytime you like. Just play a little bit with like these slight rotation movements, what we call like a kaita movement. Down, down. And just feel that you're getting rotating from the axis point, the body. You've got these two interesting points. You've got that angle, that, and you've also got this angle. That. And we use these all the time in Aikido work. If you think about like entry to a ring and out, we use this kind of rotation movements all the time. So just explore the moving the feet. You can really increase the rotation out all the way to the back, working with the tenkan, Irimi tenkan. But I want to keep essentially that same movement, just that kind of koku work in the forearm. Yeah, that's it. Looks good. That's it. Yeah. Good. And feel that the focus point, although it's probably in the Joe, feel that it's actually the core of your body. So feel that the focus point should always remain really in the center. What's the center doing? How am I using the core of my body? And the Joe is always going to be on the periphery of the body. So the Joe should never be like the center of the action. Should always remain the core of the body. And it's incredible. We need to remind ourselves all the time about this. It's like bizarre, but just kind of happens. We get lost in things. That's it. Yeah. Good. Good. And then just open it back out. You can keep to keep to square posture if you like that. And if you feel like it, just start to kind of go into light movements. Now this for me is, again, it's like much more of a frontal movement. So this kind of matches a bit more like into stepping movements. So I think about skis to the front, to the back, but anything where I'm going to kind of pass through the body. So it's got much more of a sense of quality, reaching out, which is classic for like ski work, reaching out. So this kind of works out. Just exploring the joint in full extension. And also now you've got this point as well. So you've got full, not contraction totally, but it's a sense of the whole joint being in that position. And then fully out, fully out. And you want again a sense of extension out. So you want always a kind of arc through the body. I don't want in this case too much where I'm kind of pushing the shoulder out. So again, have a sense of expansion out. Especially in terms of Aikido, where we're always going to kind of work with arcing movements, even when the arm's in kind of full extension. I always want that kind of position. And as I go to that, it's going to start to push me out of structure a little bit. Yeah. And just go to the feet as well. Move the feet, step forwards, backwards. Just really play with it. Yeah. Good. Yeah, good. Okay, nice. Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, you can also explore in this case like the height of it. So if you imagine like a ski, you've got 3 heights: to the high, to the middle, and then lower. We don't tend to do the low so much, but get the sense of, you can also change the height of it. Now, just look at what's going to happen to the body as well. So as you go like high, what happens to the body? Do I pull my body up? And when I go low, do I break the spine? So look again to like the whole body's going to change everything. So if you go high, let the body really sink down into it as well. Low is the kind of midline, kind of the base. And then as you go really low, let the whole body also do it as well. So just explore a little bit the heights. Can also, if you feel like it, come down onto the knee. I'm not going to do it today, but you can also kind of feel like you can press through the body. Press through the body. That's it. And again, keep the focus in the core of the body. Now you're doing something different with the jaw. Don't let yourself be dragged out by it. Yeah. So again, it's always this kind of expansion out from the core of the body. Yeah, that's it. That's it, good. Great, very nice, yeah. And now what's really nice is these transitions between the movements. How you come out of the ground when you go low to high, or you go from mid to low. These transitions are really nice moments. Boom. That's it. Good. Nice. Good. Okay, next one. Just working with a figure of 8. So just one-sided. And again, if you want, just keep the feet down again. And that's really just so I can get the center of the movement again. So again, I can do this with the arm like this, or you can start to feel like the movement of the center is going to drive it. So you're essentially doing the same thing as this, and then you're driving it out, and then you're catching it with the hip, and then sending it back. So you've got now this really interesting figure of 8 motion that happens in the arm, but it's being communicated really from the core of the body. So really feel that what's happening isn't the hand swinging out, and it's the core. The core is going to breathe. Yeah, that's it. Just play it and just change when you like. Do a few one side. It's important in this case to do just one-sided, because then you get this nice movement here as well. Yes. And if I always make the transition, I lose that movement. So just make sure you do a few one side. Change. 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 That's it. And when you feel like it, just go to alternating. But sometimes stick with one side, sometimes go to just alternating it. Yeah. Okay, big problem with this movement. It totally becomes like a kind of spinny movement. Like this. So it becomes very superficially and very light. So get a sense that what you're doing is like connecting the core through the tip of the jaw. So there's always a sense of like the core of the body driving something down, down, and out, there. So even when you do movements like this, even if you're doing them kind of fast, there's always a sense of a kind of wave motion. What I don't want is the whole movement to become the same thing. That's fine, but that's just twirling the jaw. So interesting in itself, but in terms of relevance to what we do in the rest of the system, not really applicable so much. So look for something again, dense, heavy, and imagine something kind of functional. You can imagine someone throwing tennis balls at you, like boom, or snowballs. Boom. I was practicing it the other day with people just throwing snowballs at each other and trying to hit it with the jaw. But imagine you need to basically line everything up. And again, all the structural work comes down to basic alignment stuff. I need to align my body, my center with the jaw. And I need to be falling into the ground as I do it. So just play a little bit with that. That's it. Yeah, when you feel the need, just start moving the feet again. So just go into footwork, moving the body, fill the whole space. And you can imagine now the person with the snowballs or the tennis balls is like surrounding you. There's maybe 4 of them in each corner. And they're kind of throwing boom, tennis balls, boom, tennis ball, boom, another one. And you can use the tip of the jaw to kind of hit them. Bam. Yeah, good. Boom. Good. Nice. I'm going to go through these last ones pretty quick, so don't worry if you get kind of lost in them. Just stick to the ones you know, but this one you're just going to pass it over the shoulder. The key on this, I'm working off center line. So I'm if I divide the jaw into 2 here, I'm working that middle part here, somewhere in this kind of area. It's going to change through it, but you're going to go like this. And just the first, you just play with that. So what you can do is like pass it over. You've got this great kind of koku work. It's like this. And then you're going to pass it down. Again, so it's just like you're going to touch the end. And this is just so I know where the tip of the jaw is. I'm just going to touch it. You're going to take it next, but just feel that. And it's really like a kind of hammer blow. Boom, 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 all the way down. Boom. Something's kind of hitting the ground as well. And just a few one side, change to the other when you feel like it. And just become a lot of the jaw work and a lot of the accidents I've seen, serious accidents I've seen with the jaw are about where I lose consciousness of the other side of the jaw, like the dead side. So this is a nice exercise really to become aware of both sides of the jaw. So every part of the jaw is a weapon. So it's actually a really, really dangerous weapon. I've seen some kind of scary accidents with the jaw. So take the jaw really seriously. We need to really treat it with kind of respect, because it doesn't take a lot to damage someone with a jaw or damage yourself. Very, very easy. Especially when you're going like full speed with the jaw. 90 miles an hour. Very easy to kind of clip yourself. That's it. Good. Yeah, and once you've got that, just get the sense like you can also include the whole body in it, so that you can also do something like big with the body. So something like boom and boom. So the whole body can become like, again, recruited to that movement. And again, I can make it very dense, quite compact, but I can also make it bigger. And I can also start to kind of feel like I can revolve the body into it as well. Something a bit bigger. Yeah. And also play with like, this is a really nice one for opening the shoulder joint. So go. And just feel the difference, just notice the difference between this, using the jaw in the center and using it off center. The weight shifts totally, completely. So the feeling's very, very different. That's it. Nice. Good. And then the transition's really easy. Find the shoulder, find the hand where it is, and then just release it from that hand. And then you're gonna do a different move now. You slice up, come over the shoulder, change it, release it, and then slice up. If you've got quite low ceilings, just be quite careful. Me too. As you go there, again, just make it quite compact, and you can also change the angle a little bit. In this case, it's not coming up like this, so it's not coming here. There's a big risk I hit myself in the face if I do this. So if you look at the line on the gi, it's going to follow that line and then switch back. Follow, switch. Follow, switch. That's it. Yeah. Good. Okay. Ah, good. So just watch one thing with this. This is an exercise to free the shoulders up. So, but I can do it in a way that's going to do the reverse of it, which is doing it like this. Watch. So I start to kind of crunch everything up. Now I'm working the opposite thing that I want to work. So get the sense that as you do this, you just kind of throw. It's like you're throwing the jaw behind you. But I stop to care about it. But I'm not trying to catch it. If I try and snatch the jaw, like it starts to do this. So really open this movement out. Let the movement breathe as you do it. There. There. And especially the shoulder and that back movement. It's going like over the head, over the head. So this hand is going like this, rather than like this. So it's like something passing behind the head. And really don't worry if you hit yourself. It happens. Make it slow. Start to move the body around a little bit. This is a really nice one for doing this movement. We do these movements all the time in Aikido work. So this kind of work, like an upwards arcing on the diagonal. Wow. Wow. And again, something's going to rise out of the ground as you do it. That's it. Just use the whole space, play with it. Nice. And especially now, this work is like you've got two focuses in this. You've got the strike, so you've got this moment, and that's the moment when the wrist crosses over and does like that kind of motion, and it switches. And that's the point when, if you imagine someone throwing a ball at you, that's the point you're going to kind of strike it and then switch it, strike it and then switch it. And there's that moment, and it's the moment of the transition. So it's to try to smooth out that transition where it becomes just one movement, and then there's the kind of boom driving through. So again, you've got these kind of qualities of movement. You've got this arc, you've got the strike, and then you've got the transition. Boom, boom, boom. And just know that those are different kind of qualities of movement because they're doing it, they're different function. So there's a different quality to them. Yeah, that's it. You're gonna get something like a whip driving through it with the wrist. Ah, good. Ah, you can do that. Ah, huh. Interesting. Huh. Let's see. Okay, some of you are working like if this is the second third, you're working in this end of the jaw. That's fine, but you're gonna struggle with this movement. So if you do this one like this, because as I make the transition, I end up on that part of the jaw. So if you work in this end, it's fine, but you're gonna go into a different space. So if I go here, I'm gonna go across the back this way. So I want to find a balance in the movement. So I want to always come back to the same movement. So you've got that move, you can also go here. I'm not going to do it because it's a bit low my ceiling for doing this. You've got these kind of movements. And then coming across the back. But that's when I'm going to work in the bottom section of the jaw. For this one, you want to be working somewhere in this section. In that part. So I'm somewhere here. And then when I make that transition, I end up in the same spot. Same spot. Same spot. As soon as I shift that to here, I'm going to be back in the middle again. And then it starts to change. So, yeah. If you've got the ceiling, play with that, the other one. So you're kind of in that part of the jaw. You just pass it behind the back. It goes like that. And you let it go. This will be that one. There we go. Good. Yeah. That's it. Great. Nice. Nice. Good. Okay, we'll go to some kind of functional movements with the jaw now. So working now just straight into Kamai and just coming straight in with the foot. Come in and change it. Come in and change it. Feel free to like change the angle. You don't always have to stay to the front, but just get this feeling of now like rolling through. And this is a classic one where I'm going to use the center of the jaw. So get to the center, flow down to the end of it. Get to the center, flow down to the end of it. And this is like really where the Aikido comes in, like the whole body needs to be recruited behind it. So everything needs to be full in the movement. So it's not about the hands, it's not about the center, it's about the whole thing, including the jaw. It's a really nice move. Yeah. So, good. Dum. Okay. Yeah, so there's one tendency, that's why I like all this transitional work and these turning movements, because they change our focus in the movements rather than getting to like, there's one problem with like these kata movements, like I do these and I do like ram on and then I like empty this movement. It becomes like I'm just coming back, I'm not really doing anything. And then the more I do these kind of transition work or this kind of work doing these, and the more I feel like the whole movement's full and full of feeling, full of function, and I know what I'm doing with those movements, that's when that I can make a shift in the quality. So if I'm always working with a feeling of quality of movement or functional form, it doesn't matter what you do because you can always find function in it and you can always find a quality of movement in it. So none of the movements are ever going to be empty. They're never going to be empty of feeling. So a kata especially is like a condensed teaching of someone's whole lifetime. So none of the movements are empty. So get a sense that then when you do these kind of movements, I want to really feel like every part of it is part of the function of the movement. And just think about what I'm doing. I'm rotating through the jo, and then I'm coming into Kamai. And I want to do that like fully. But it should never have a feeling of like emptiness. I'm just coming back to Kamai. It's never like this.
Michael, can you do it please on both sides slow-mo?
Yeah, sure. This way. Yeah.
Yeah, right and left.
So you do like that.
Yes.
That.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, got it. Good. Yeah, that's it. And if you think, what's the function of a kamai? Why do we take a kamai? Is a question. Is an open question. Why do you take a kamai? What's the point? What's the point in a kamai? Or what's the purpose of a kamai?
Being prepared, ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be ready.
To be ready, yeah. So it's like there's two ways you can look at it. I'm being prepared for movement. That's totally right. So I'm ski kamai. So it's preparing me to get into a ski position. The second thing is it's like a warning. So it's like a kind of taking a position where I go like no. So it's like a guard. So there's two ways you can explain. It's like a position or it's a guard. Now we don't tend to like take positions in Aikido where I'm like these kind of positions. So it's got a kind of neutral quality. But again, it's got that kind of prepared. So if you think of like people in a space, it's got a kind of guarding quality. And what I'm guarding is like the center of the line of the body again. So all these kind of guarding movements come out. They're about guarding the body. So just play a little bit now. Go like, if you think about kamai work, there's lots of kamais. You can have like ken kamai, ski kamai. You've got these like jodan kamai. You've got even this kind of kamai. So you've got a ton of them, and also the hasso, these kind of kamai. And they all have a similar kind of function, which is to guard the body and prepare it for another movement. So just explore a little bit what you know. So, and the basic ones are the best. So like Skikamai, Kenkamai. These give you the clearest kind of window on what is the Kamai. That's it. Yeah, that's it. And again, none of them are kind of empty, so they're all kind of full of kind of function. That's it. Yeah, good. And the Joe's got some really strange Kamai as well, so they're in a way included in the movement, but you could also treat them as kind of movements. If you think of like 11, 12, 13, and also this one. So these are really strange movements. They really demand the whole structure needs to be in place. The Hassa is also included in that because it's quite a strange position. That's it. And if you find different kind of Kamais that aren't in the Suburi, great. Just follow them. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, good. So just now work with the ones you've done, but just now look at the transitions between the Kamai. So going from, for example, like Ski Kamai, and then how do I transition that into Ken Kamai? How do I transition that into Hasoreishi? How do I transition this into Gerangaishi? And just really focus on those Kamais, the movements we do in between, as well as like taking position, are really kind of critical again, because those are the points that will eventually be the kind of form. So those moments when I'm transitioning from Kamai, really just try and fill them. And again, it's about connecting the center of the Jo, or connecting the Jo to your core. So this is why all these turning movements are really nice, because they work with like a dynamic Jo. But just feel now something in the connection between the Jo and the body. And it really doesn't have to be fancy. It's actually better if it's really simple. Working on those transitions. And if you think of like a Kamai as a guard, or as a way as a kind of stop, the moment I lose that, that's when the person will attack. So just notice when you're kind of, I drop my guard too much, which is basically like the attention switching off, the concentration's gone, or I've lost my relationship to the ground, or I'm out of center, I'm off balance. And that's what I'm looking for as an attacker. If I'm going to attack you, I'm going to look for the moment you're off balance, or the moment you've lost concentration. That's when I attack you. That's when you really don't like it. So that's like part of the training. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just watch now, because Aikido works in a really, really strange place, which is like I have a position, I have no real position. I'm in an active position, but I'm quite neutral. So I don't want to be like totally passive with the Jo, like, oh, this is really passive. But I also don't want to go into like an aggressive kind of too much. This is also like unbalanced. So I'm looking for this neutral space, which is like something open, including the Jo, but also really like I'm ready to go. But it's got a kind of really quite a neutral flavor to it. So it's got something quite, it's not passive and it's not aggressive. It's just something else. It's got this kind of really, really strange quality. Because my intention with Aikido is always to blend with the person. Ultimately, it's about protect myself and all this kind of stuff. I don't want to get hit, but ultimately my aim is like how to blend with the other person, or how to blend with the other thing. That requires a Kamai which is like pretty open. pretty inclusive. Strange quality. That's it. Yeah, good. Okay, good. And now just keep the same thing, but you're just going to introduce like a movement. So don't always feel you need to go into a strike, because the strike's not really the thing. So especially today, we're just looking at like kamae work, footwork. Just get the sense that if I get to it, like I got a really nice kamae, and I just feel like ski, just go into it, and then I go to a next kamae. That, nice. I just go into that. And when you feel like the kamae's like, no, it's not quite right, I change it. No, that one. And when you feel like there's a movement just like goes, boom, do it. So just play with a little bit. And again, keep it really simple. You can just work with ski, yokomenuchi, gerengaishi. Just those three is enough for a few years, but just play with them. If anything else comes up, just use it, especially these hasso movements, if you can. Yeah. And the key thing, if we go to kamae, like what John said about being prepared, the key is like knowing when I'm fully prepared to go into the movement. And for me, that means like I'm balanced, centered, grounded, fully, boom. And I know I can just go into the movement. And the moment I don't have that fully, or it's like 60%, I just switch to kamae. Knowing that is really important. So. And I can also get into a nice kamae position where I feel like I don't want to move either. Just feel like I want to sit there for a while. Like a really comfortable armchair. It's like, go, I don't really want to move. Why would I? That. You notice that kind of restlessness we have, especially me, I kind of move a lot. That kind of restlessness comes from not being totally comfortable. That's it. Yeah, here we go. Got it. Nice. Yeah, and you might just find yourself coming into some odd, strange positions and like different movements. These are like Ushiro ski, different kinds of ski variation. Totally great. Just explore them. And if you come across something nice, just keep exploring it as well. There's tons of movements with the Joe. Yes. Yeah. Nice. Good. Okay, you're gonna like create your own kata a little bit. So keep it really simple. Again, 3-4 movements, and then stop. Or however you like. But I don't want to change so many movements up. I don't want to practice this like. And this is all in their head. And then what do I do? This. So don't think about it. As soon as I go into thinking the movement, stop. Full stop. Like go, and then I just go. Keep it quite calm, and then just stop. Find another position. If you find yourself repeating the same pattern, good. Keep exploring it. Keep it real calm as you do it. And the moment you think like, the moment some thought comes in your head, like, what do I do now? Or what movement do I do now? That's time to stop. So try not to think about it too much, which is difficult if we're, especially with in the morning. Yeah, that's it. The problem is we because we learn through someone telling us what to do or showing us, we tend to think the movements, think them through, and you just need to feel them. Ultimately, that's the problem for us, how to feel the movements. Yeah, that's it. That's good. And if you go to like a position you find like that's awkward, you can either like abandon it or you can keep going back to it. Like, oh, that transition didn't really work. Go back to it. If you can't make it work, just forget it. It doesn't matter. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, good. Good. Nice. Good. Nice, Adrian. Very nice.
Now I'm stuck.
Now you're stuck, yeah. Forget it. Go somewhere else. Good. Just go back to it. Yeah. So if you think about it, all these kata that we've got, like the 6 and the 31 and the 13, someone at some point decided they go together. These movements really work. They go together like thump. They just fit. Now you will come across those moments as well. And if you're like me, you've been training for a while, you will find yourself, I've fallen into the 13 jo kata. And then I either follow the 13 or I go somewhere else with it. So if you think about all these movements, you have branches. So all the kamae, I think like you can go this way, you can go that way. And they've got a lot of kamae with like multiple branches. So I pick that path, I go that way. But really when you pick it, it's like I fully follow it. And then I go somewhere else. And then I go somewhere else. And see, it's like I'm just spiraling around the same thing. So you think you're like branches coming out. I'm just spiraling with the same idea, which is like, how do I make the center of the jo and the center of me the same thing? How do I include the jo in my movement totally? That's basically what we're doing. And when you're chaining movements together, that's just a challenge. It's just challenging that ability. Oh no, I've lost it. It's gone. So just play with it a little bit. Last few minutes. What I want you to do now is like find a form that's really simple, like 3-4 movements, something you've been repeating. Maybe it's come up a lot. Just do that now. So just find yourself in a form. And if you're stuck, just go to like the 6-count kata. So it's just like a ski, coming up, striking down, rolling back, striking through. So if you're stuck for a form, just work with the 6, but ideally work with something you've kind of come across. And it can be real simple. And it can be a section of the 31 or the 13, whatever. Doesn't actually matter. Again, it's like how you're doing it that matters. Just the last few. And you're looking now to like refine the movement. That's it. Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. That's it. Nice. That's it. Got it. Nice. That's it. That's it. Nice. Good. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's a nice cut. Cool. Yeah, good. Okay, great. Super. So it's a little bit like, I like this approach with the Seitai. It's also great because you've got 5 very clear movements. And then at the end of it, you just mix them all together. You basically start to follow your body. So, and you can do that very simply with the jo. Like these movements follow the same pattern. I get 5 patterns, shift it, I shift it, I shift it. And you just play with them, just open them out, explore them, and explore your own transitions. And you can do the same thing with the ski work, with the jo, like this, this, this. So I can use a really basic set, like 3 movements, and just explore it. So we don't do that enough, especially in the dojo, but we do this quite a lot in Montreal as well. Like, it's not like create your own kata, like you're kind of a person like this, but you will do it anyway. If you just pick up the jo and play with it, you will come across new movements. So have fun with it, explore it. And a lot of the stuff doesn't work. So what? Who cares? a lot of the stuff I'm doing doesn't work. It's not great. So just know that that's the case, and it doesn't even matter. No one's watching. No one's going to record it. Oh, actually, it is being recorded. But have that sense that just play with it. This is the point, really. So it's like, especially with all these classes, because otherwise we get stuck just in doing form training, and it's kind of dull in a way. So okay, we bow out. Okay. Hey, domo arigato gozaimasu. Domo arigato.
Thank you.
Good. Play with your gel, basically.
Blah, blah.
Multiple ways to play with your gel.
Thanks, Michael.